is that our job of serving the customer is still the same. We are still going to give a great customer experience. That's what we are here for. And we want to do it at a reasonable cost. Because the easiest job of giving customer experience is throw more bodies at it. And people in this room take pride in saying we will do it at the least possible cost. Yeah, agreed? Yeah, I hope that has not changed. Because if that's changed, well, we'll have to rethink many things besides WFM. So I thought I was frantically changing my slides actually. I was lucky. Let's talk about what impacts WFM. And many of these have been pointed out. Many. Finally, actually, there are, I would say, two categories. One category is tech. Uber was talked about, they say, almost a cliche. We use Uber as an example that the new economy is defined by what we call as gig workers. And the gig business as well. That if I was to look at a forecast plan for somebody like Uber or Zomato or any other born in cloud organization, how am I going to do that? Will somebody answer that? Any ideas how we will do that? Okay, that was just a rhetorical question. But the second piece that we will talk about is, besides that, people talk about cloud computing. It's been said that WFM will be in the cloud. Everything will be in the cloud. Our new businesses are in the cloud. But they will all be AI and ML driven. We saw a great presentation from Nadia saying, we have WFM which can do AI, of course. And does that, everyone is now going towards that. Most WFM in a year or two will have that in the portfolio. What is that going to do for you as a WFM practitioner? Any idea? If I have AI and ML in WFM, what does it do for you?
Quick availability of the data.
Faster. Same thing, faster. Am I right? Maybe AI will help us point out some trends which we are not able to do it right away. So when we deploy the WFM has that AI capability to look at past trends. Somebody says, oh, I'll do it in Arima. I take 2 guys to do it. Maybe you will do it in one go. So that's something which is going to change. But AI has a bigger impact. AI is now pervasive on the customer side, which means when the contacts come to you, the first interaction is not with the human, but with the AI entity. Which means the transactions which are going to pour in from there on are not going to be simple transactions. So if you thought that you will use your historical data for creating forecasts and the next round of WFM optimization, I think we are missing a trick there. So when my first interaction lands up on an AI and then lands up at my door or at my contact center and the employee handles that, do you think the AI is going to have same AHT? We'll see. We'll see some stats on that. As we saw with may I use the example of Trump impeachment? We got away with it, if I can say, because the world is more polarized. And it reflects across businesses, it reflects across applications we use or the phones we use. And also the regulations which are coming up. GDPR. Who's impacted by GDPR in their WFM? You are? That's one hand, I'm surprised. You are as well, right? We did not expect that some of the data that we have in WFM will vanish just because somebody says, I don't want to be in that data point. Now that has an impact as well. Something to consider. Then of course, we said there is low unemployment. What that implies is, Nadia said very nicely, somebody can press the wrong, different button and be in a different contact center, or you may be hired right at the bottom of your, building itself, and somebody can hire you there and take you into a different organization. Unemployment has changed. I think there is a virtual requirement, but that's a different story. And the next one, of course, is the millennials and the Gen X that is going to impact, which requires us to have a very different kind of WFM. Anything else you can contribute to this, or you think is not right on the board? Anything? I'm that good? No. Please. So, because it's an ideation center, I'm here to learn as much from the practitioners as talk about it. The idea here is these are some of the elements which will impact us, are impacting us. And of course, I'm going to go through a lot of the stuff about what GenX is doing about it and come down to one example. I think it was mentioned that we used to be, very good at RDA. Let's forget WFM as forecasting and scheduling. That's only resource projection and creation of a plan. But where call center became very, very vibrant was managing the fact that people have a plan and they should stick to that plan. RDA as a function. That got automated very simply, right? How easy is that? Because I can now have automatic alerts coming to me. People are around of saying that they can manage their own time. Fantastic. But remember, the system is still designed to be a team. It's designed around a team. Am I right? Do we schedule for an individual yet? Anybody? We do? No, we don't. Which means if my shift is going smoothly and somebody decides to work from home, now everybody says, yes, we are doing home shoring, right? How many are doing home shoring? Nobody? Oh, yeah, okay. Home shoring, yeah. I would have been surprised if there was no home shoring. I actually met a very small center in Manila day before yesterday, which already has 24% of their population working from home. And not only working from home, they are in the gig work, which we saw earlier. And of course, the numbers are there which talk about how this will change. So I will just go to directly what is coming next. Again, implied by my friends here. When a person wants to interact today, what do they use? They use a digital media. They use a digital entity, they interact with the entity, and only if they are not able to manage that interaction well, will it land upon them. Am I right? Yes? If that is the case, then it means that more channels for which we are forecasting and scheduling are actually not sorting out the customer problem, which means the one, when the call comes to you, it is going to be more complex. Second, there are going to be more channels to forecast. Everyone with me? Yes? All right. Sorry, I'm used to a conversation. I don't like to stand up and talk. So going back to my virtual agents and bots, if the penetration of bots increases, like I said, we are going to face a challenge that CSRs will have tougher calls to handle. They will have tougher work to handle. How many here are doing WFM for back office? Yeah, that's what I like to see. Great. But going back to the point, and I'll talk more about it, where we are saying, I like that statement that you don't measure anymore. It was there on my slide. That's why I loved it more. But the fact is, you cannot measure employees like we used to. RTA is no longer, RTA is still a function we want, that I gave you a certain amount of pay and I want you to contribute that time. But how that time gets measured has changed. The organization that I'm talking about, the 24% of the people, many of them have reported work from beaches. Now, is that okay? For a call center, it's not okay, but for the back office or non-voice work, it's fairly all right if I get my work items done. So what does that mean for us? Number one, I think it was talked about by everyone, we need to change the way we address employee expectations. We are changing, and I think the solution has been talked about, how it can be done. Employees can contribute, they have mobile app, they can be part of it, they can shift, swap, everything that we do today will be done better with AI and ML. Fair? Now, this is the slight tweak that we are thinking of. especially when we talk about non-voice. We are no longer going to schedule people alone. We can also schedule work if we have to accommodate the way employees are going to work in the future. So, for example, I'll give a very practical example. Example given earlier was I can swap with myself. What if I swap with myself in the future and then also swap with my friend on that particular day? Where are your FTE counts heading? Because when we do WFM, we also do it not only at the level of a person, we do it at the level of a skill and the proficiency per skill. Right? Right? So if I am, let's say, 0.9 FTE for you in production, and the other party which is swapping with me is about 0.7, how does that serve you? So some of these elements need to be controlled from the perspective of whether I will be able to give that right work to that individual if that individual logs in.